And you're welcome back to The Pulse. As we indicated to you earlier, we won't have sports, we won't have Let's Talk Showbiz, but everyone is excited about this. I need to tell you about it. 28th, the Crossroads animation film is set in the footprints of the 28th February 1948 shooting incidents. This film illustration through the creative medium of animation recreates the memorable Christiansborg Crossroad shooting incident in which the three Second World War veterans were shot in cold blood. The feature film is mainly woven around the key architects of the Crossroads event, Sergeant Ajete, we know Corporal Atipo, and Private Odate Lamte. This afternoon, we have with us the lead character himself, Ajete Anand, and Cecil Jones, Urban Director of the Parables Animation Studio, for a conversation on this movie premiere, which is happening on Monday, February 28th, and we are all excited about this. Ajete Anand, welcome, and Cecil, it's good to see you as well. So let me start off with Cecil, obviously. Okay. We'll come to the man himself and why he's upgrading now to animation. But Cecil, why animation in the first place?
Well, because we are animators, so we love to turn inanimate objects into living objects, make them talk. We tell our stories through cartoons. And it's something that we love to do as a studio. We've been telling stories using cartoons. And because animation is a very powerful tool to communicate, educational tool for kids as well. And it cuts across ages. It's not just for kids, but adults as well. So it's something that we felt like if we want to tell the story, we want to tell it using animation, what we know how to do best as a studio. So that's why we went. And
I was actually wondering why animation, because obviously, if you go out there, you speak to Ghanaians, we feel animation is something that's far away from us. It's something that's just for the kids.
Okay, that's
what we hear.
Yes, that's the perception. It's one of the difficult things trying to sell ideas to people. It's like, this is kids stuff. But people are making billions of dollars out of this kids stuff. And so the earlier we get in there and try to capitalize on it, the better to do.
And I'm glad you're talking about the proceeds and how much it's paying off. Here in Ghana, we know that we have a burdening animation industry. It's not fully grown, but this is history, obviously. 28th, it's history. So what will this mean for the industry itself?
So I think this is a floodgate opener. We've been in the 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and definitely now we're in the feature films. So I think it's an open door for other animators to come in and say, look, this is possible. It can be done. And I think with this feature, it shows that we can now become more visible in the animation field, because we can't be visible if we are doing 2 seconds, 3 seconds animation. When we enter into the feature films, then it becomes like a serious business. People are ready to put money into it because they know that there'll be return on investments for them, because it's not just 60-second stuff, but this is people paying, sitting down to watch a full story. So I think it's a flood opener for others to come.
And on that, let me just take your thoughts on the industry itself. What do you think is necessary for you as industry players to further grow this animation sector, if I may refer to it that way?
I think funding.
The money. It's all about the money.
It will take the money. You have a big budget and then little resources to get it done. We thank God for people like Ajete who come on board and they won't ask so much for now. We have to sort him out. But we need a funding, because sometimes you have a tall list of people you have to pay. And even the technology, developing all those things, we need the funding. And then also one thing I noticed is we need to collaborate. As animators, filmmakers.
Come together.
Yes, coming together to do it, because it's a holistic thing. It's not just one studio doing one stuff. Because if you watch Disney, you realize it's Disney with subletting out the jobs to other studios. So we need to come together as a body to get stuff like this. Because if you can do 60 seconds, he can, or maybe 5 minutes, he can do 10 minutes. We can do 30 minutes as a team. So we need to collaborate as studios to get stuff like this done.
And the technicalities you're talking about makes me curious to want to know what goes into the process in terms of the production itself. But 28th itself is history. In fact, what's interesting about the whole story is that it's not just a story. This is a real-time event. Why did you settle on that?
Because we have these projects that we want to tell the history of Ghana. We know that we have a lot of history. The children don't know our stories. If you ask somebody who is Sergeant Ajete, they're looking at you, it's like blank.
They refer to Ajete.
So we felt like let's pick some of these stories and represent them in an exciting, fun way for the kids. even though it's educational, there's a fun attached to it. You're watching yourself, there's local language being spoken, you are seeing yourself, your culture being reflected in this. So we felt like, let's pick 28th, and then because this is what actually triggered the fight for independence. So when we do 28th, we move on to the independence story, move on to other stories. There are a tall list of stories that we want to do, but this is the first step that we've taken, and I'm glad we've come this far.
Right, it sounds really exciting. But the problem, I don't know if I should refer to it as a challenge with the creative art industry, is that you see the finished work, so you don't get to appreciate what work has gone into this. How much of a work was it for you, your team, working on 28th?
It's very challenging. Because, you know, a second of animation, for instance, is like 25 drawings. If we're doing 60 seconds, that's 1,500 drawings.
Whoa.
So imagine multiply that.
You keep drawing all the time, all throughout.
So, I mean, putting all of these images together and then working with people like voice actors and then musicians coming to do scoring, you know, directing all of these people to do is quite a task. Yeah, but I mean, the joy of getting it done, the passion is, it's fun, but very challenging.
This is not Valentine. This is 28th. So the point is, why should I come out there? Why should I join you to obviously be a part of this? JT and I want to
Well, it's because it's our story,
right.
You know, and it's a story that you know, especially that speaks to our independence,
right.
And also for me, the fact that it's also family oriented, you know, so anybody can watch this,
right.
and also an opener for young people to embrace
right.
what we have, and also learn about us, and in a fun, entertaining way, because it's an art form, and so we can put in some bits that would be exciting, so that we tone down on the Spider-Man, Iron Man a bit, you know, we introduce. So I think that it's a good opener for
Indeed, and when I heard about this, the fact that you were on the team, I was like, oh, okay, now the pusher is going, you are now going digitalization. That's the point. So I'm curious to know what even made you decide to go unconventional. Really, animation.
Well, I mean, look, this is something that the film industry has been craving to do, telling our stories through film. We have so much from Yas Antoine, Krumah, and these stories have not been told in the way that we'd want. And animation has been the answer for now, and I think that it's going to begin to really, you know, give us that appetite to do more. And therefore, I thought it was a story that spoke to our history, needed to be told, and sort of more like a bait to the film industry that, well, we're taking the lead, catch up with us. You know, so I thought that, look, being a part of this was a worthy thing.
You are always part of groundbreaking things, and this is one of its kind. Why did you, I mean, as a veteran like you, how does it feel working with a team?
Well, you know, while you're working, you're also thinking, what's going to be the legacy? You know,
right.
I want to be a part of something that really, you know, moves us from one level to the other, the next, so that we have something to hand over to the next generation. And that's what makes our industry. You're fulfilled when we do such things. And sometimes it's not just all about the money, but you know, the value that the content. You know,
and he was talking about the challenges in the industry already. Yeah. So I was like, oh, did you just agree to do this? Were you convinced? How many times did they knock at your door just to get you to agree that yes, I'm going to do this finally?
Yeah, but he didn't stress.
I didn't.
All right.
Right.
But you just agreed to do this.
Yes, I did.
And how long and how willing are you to go on? Obviously, they've given us a roadmap. Cecil has told us about how many more of this kind of movies will come up. Are you on board?
The long haul. I mean, the long haul. I mean, this is to eternity for me.
Right. And we are all excited about this. I'm sure that by now most of you have heard about it, but you need to hear it from Ajete Anand himself. Why must you not miss 28th and the premiere itself?
Well, you can't miss this. I mean, because it's our story. I mean, you could go in there with your textbooks and check it out online, you know. And these are stories that have not been told. We've read them, possibly in the books, but to add visuals to it, that it brings a different dimension and relive. Even for the adults who for us, we grew up knowing these things in school. It's a totally different experience for adults as well. And so I think that the family, the whole squad should be in there to see this.
And Cecil, I'm just looking at the excerpts and the trailer on our screens now. It appears that this is not an amateur work, if we should refer to it as such. The quality, and this must be some good work.
I think I saw another version of it. That's the 2009 version.
Right.
If you compare the two, you realize that there's a big improvement in the animation. It's because of we've been doing it over and over again. And now I watched the 2009. I was like, oh, really?
Because I'm watching this, I'm like, was this really made in Ghana? Was this really produced in Ghana?
And I look at today's one, I said, okay, we've come very far. I mean, because we've been consistently doing it, improving ourselves, and then learning on the go, and then getting more contrast. So it's an improvement. And I keep saying, you don't have to wait for everything to be perfect before you step out there. Let's step out there. Somebody may say, oh, this is not Disney class. No, we're not looking for Disney. We want to tell them, I will build our own style.
Story.
Our own style. Because the Japanese have the Japanese manga. That's their style. They're not changing.
And you have that on your screens right now. You can bear it out, see it for yourself. I mean, this is not, and it looks African or Ghanaian, if I could put it. It provides a little context to it, the setting and everything that you see on the screens right there. So this must be a lot of work, and that's why you need to be there. In fact, we are all going to be there. The 28th, it's something that you need to definitely support. But Cecil, those listening out there, where can they, what time is it happening, particularly the dates, the venue, and where they can catch, I mean, have their...
so it's happening at the Silverbird Cinemas. We are doing both the Wager Mall and then Accra Mall at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. There are going to be 2 shows. And the tickets are available at Silverbird, Max Mart, Airport Shell, and Bachelor Total. So there's also the online purchase, which is cheaper, 40 Ghana cedis. And that one is on the short code *899*60#. And then if you also visit the studioparables.com, we have online purchases there. But the tickets are going for 50 Ghana cedis.
And this is already making me wonder what's in the pipeline. What's next? What's the immediate one?
So this is part of a series of stories. So, there's this story of the Asomeni, the guy who took over the Christiansborg Castle for a year. It's a very interesting story we want to tackle. We have the Yasantua story we want to tackle. And then some of the Tuhazi in the north. All of those historical stories, we want to visit them and tell them. So this is just a opener.
It's really exciting. You need to be part of this so that you can be part of history.
Yes.
The first of its kind. 28th, you need to be on the lookout for the tickets as well. Once again, the places for outlets for the tickets.
Yes, it's at Maximat, Airport Shell, Bachelor Total, and then the Silverbird itself. And then the star code *899*60#. And then studioparables.com. You have tickets over there.
And with the way the man himself, Ajitiana, is passionate about this, is this replacing your first love? Going on set and doing your own thing.
We're going to be still doing it hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah, but who knows?
You're not replacing it at all.
No.
I'm not. Well, I just feel you should go in for this.
There's a way in which this also gels into, because you know how visuals compensate for words, but here the emphasis is on speech, voice, and therefore it also giving me some input into how to improve, for the film. And so I think that going hand in hand with strengthening.
Is this more challenging than going on set and doing your own thing?
Oh yes, voice is more challenging. Because then you may think that you're not being seen, but you're going through all the actions to get the emotions up there. And there was the scene that we're doing with.
Tell me about it. now I need the backstory.
Not even the 28th, but Joe,
Mighty Joe,
yes, where I had to swim. In the studio, you should see me go.
Right. Okay, so you're trying to swim and paint that mental picture. Right.
So it helps, and then the tone of the voice you can also hear clearly. So because it has to sound convincing for whoever is listening, and so there are lots of actions that go.
But I'm sure that you worked with an entire team. This is not just about you. There are more people in all of this. But what was the number like? How many?
We work so far. It's about 48 people.
Wonderful.
48 people.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it could create jobs for
yes,
more and more
it's a whole job employment. And both animators, background artists, musicians, and we had this guy who did scoring.
Okay.
You know, scoring is very critical in movies, and he's so talented. I just saw him somewhere, and I picked him up.
Wow.
So, you know, there are more of these guys out there. So I believe that once we step out there, they'll start coming up. The industry will start.
Indeed, I must say this is why you need to support this project, first of its kind. But there's still skepticism out there. And JT, let me take your thoughts on that about animation and movies itself. Why should we avoid that competition, quote and unquote?
Well, I think that it's sad that you know that should be. I think that there are perceptions that have been entrenched, and we need to change that in the sense that you know telling stories could be. Today we have different art forms, and one of which is animation, and we've seen what the Western world has done with movies like Spider-Man, etc. And they really
just a movie they could
exactly, and you also have the power to really extend what you even imagine and create.
Yeah.
We're talking about the comparison between film and animation, whereby film, if we want a scene shot in maybe Manchagbona, Jamestown, we'll have to take everybody there, you know, crew, cast members, cost implications. But in the studio, you could create Jamestown, you know, and add whatever you want to add to it and make it more. So it's limitless, even though the location will have its limitation. And so these are ways in which it's a new way in which we can make it even more exciting in telling our stories, so that it's not rigid as we know in textbooks.
And I'm sure that you've seen the final product yourself. What would you recommend? Is this a family thing, something that the whole family can latch on, join,
It's a family
or is that something way beyond a certain age?
Animation pass across.
And that's what makes it unique. You know, it makes it very unique. Where you know, family can come in there. And I think there are people out there who are looking for you know, content that the whole family can say, oh, we're going to watch a movie together, and the parents are not, you know, kind of there's no cause for alarm. Everybody's safe.
And I guess 28th will not be the only day that.
Yes, so on the 28th, that's the Monday, that's the day that the actual shooting took place. And we also have the 4th of March and the 5th of March at the same venue. So Saturday can also be another time that you can gather around and let you just have some fun.
So it looks like it's a whole package.
It is. And from there, we'll do a regional tour. We're going to Kumasi, we're going to Takoradi, we're going to Tamale, just to have people to have access to the movie.
Is there any reason why you're going big on this? Why you feel this should be a national project?
Because I think that this is an industry that can pull in a lot of money for the economy. I mean, it's a whole industry, and we need to let people know that it is possible. Let's get, and it will also build a film industry. You know, we are all helping. So this is the way we also want to reach out and also make sure that this becomes possible, and we get more people to get in there.
And in fact, this is not just for you, Cecil. This is also for Ajitian, and we're in, well, I don't want to call it a post-COVID era, but we are gradually moving out of it, and many would expect that this project will not come at this time. How has this whole pandemic impacted you as persons in this industry? And let me start off with
Okay, so for me, I think it gave me an opportunity to sit back. Because we're in a hurry to finish and then get the thing out there until COVID. So we took time to sit down and realize, oh, we're actually aiming for 60 minutes. But upon sitting down, I realized, okay, this aspect of the story needs to go out so that it doesn't confuse anything. Take out anything that may sound political, you know, all those stuff.
You're mindful of that?
Yes, very. I just want to tell a story.
That's a big.
I just want to tell a very simple story the kids with the family will enjoy, you know. So we took time. And then also, you know, we learned how to work in remote spaces, because now everybody goes home. I have to, you know, call you, have you done that? Have you done that? And then so it was quite an experience, but it gave me time to actually review the movie itself and look at how to improve it much better and tell a very good story.
And for the impact as well, the pandemic itself. Has it impacted you as those in the industry?
Yes, because, you know, for a while the cinemas were closed. I was very worried about that. Yes, the cinemas were closed. And a lot of guys also had other movies that they wanted to premiere because of the cinema were closed. So when we were told that it was up for running, I was like, yes. But, you know, you had to approach cautiously because, I mean, you're still doing the social distancing stuff. But now that everything is just wearing out, I mean...
And that's why I was interested in it, because at the time, I'm sure you were producing this, COVID was not... I mean, it's not like it's gone now.
Yes.
But obviously, there'll be that concern. You call someone's not feeling well.
Exactly. So you don't put pressure on anybody. So even in the studio, we had to separate. I mean, we're all in one room, but now we had to distribute ourselves. Okay, you just sit down. Let's do that social.
Yeah, but I'm suspecting when it came to the watcher, you didn't really. but how is the whole impact of the pandemic for you as an industry player?
Well, it's had its impact, you know, and it has affected us in a lot of ways because, you know, you'd have to come together to do most of our works. But the beauty of this animation medium is where we can work in isolation. And so I go into the studio and do my part. I don't need
necessarily
my character, my wife to be in the same space with me, but with film, you definitely need that person for chemistry, for, you know, the dialogue. And so this also, you know, we're able to work, you know, in isolation and get this running, and so it was a plus for.
Yeah, but personally for you, sitting back and looking at what you've done.
Oh my goodness,
are you amazed at the outcome?
It's a combination of words, but I am totally blown away by what we've done, what I've seen so far, and I think that it's a new beginning, but it has so much potential that I think that if we all come on board, you know, it can be something big coming from this part of
Cecil, you need to prepare for this because I'm sure by now you'll be getting more calls from his colleagues asking you that we want to come on board. How willing are you to cooperate with more persons, and who are you on the lookout for to partner on this
you know, when we started, I wanted more of his guys on board. Some of them, because of other issues and challenges,
not come on.
But I'm open to as many as I can get on board. I mean, if Lydia Forcing wants to come,
and organizations as well, because you need support.
Exactly.
You need
I'll be very glad because it's been very challenging in this aspect, trying to fund this thing yourself. I mean, you have to do commercial works to fund a project because, I mean, you've been trying to sell it, people, you need to do it for them to see. That's what I realized. Because you go talking, they don't believe that this can be done in Ghana. So, okay, let's take the initiative, let's sacrifice and do it. That's why I appreciate him a lot because, I mean, he said, like, I believe in what you're doing, I want to support you, let's go out. If it works out, fine. And it's going to work out.
It will work out. I'm positive about it.
So, I mean, this is it. We've broken through.
This is intellectual property. 28th. I'm so much excited just looking at the trailer. You need to be out there. You need to support this project. I mean, get your tickets out there and make sure that you go for the premiere. But this is intellectual property. The challenge of the Ghanaian industry is that, well, we've not done so well in terms of protecting your hard work. Are you putting in measures to protect this project?
Yes. I spoke to a couple of people. That was the first thing they asked me. How are you going to protect it? So we are making arrangements to, you know, do all those protective stuff to be done. So yes, we are getting it done. I'm very cautious and conscious of that as well because, you know, you never know who might pick it up and then becomes another issue. So we've done that. I mean, I do Kukwanansi stories. Wait if we don't try that, you know, but it's something that we've really considered, and it's very important.
And I'm sure, Ajiti, you also have a take on that, how it's a challenge in intellectual property issues relating to that.
I mean, it's more all hands on deck. I know that even from my side of the industry, it always appears that much is not being done. But I think that it's time for us to like come together as this works, and it works for all of us. And it's not people should not do the blame game. How do we fix some of these things that are challenges for us, and come to the people would like to sit on the fence and think that, okay, well, this is not my business, etc. But this is an age where we need to all come together and then fix it ourselves because it's our own and make it our own.
Yeah. If I get to say this, many people will be out there and say, I mean, you've not been part of the project, so allow those who are part of it to say it for themselves. So, Ajiti, our listeners, our viewers are out there wondering, why should we be part of this great project, 28th?
You definitely have to be a part of this. This is groundbreaking, this is history in the making, and we're not telling a story out there in the Western world, America, but this is Ghana, and Ghanaian stories, things that really happened on our land, on our shores, and we're telling beautifully through animation, and it's more exciting than what you've read in the textbook. So you have to be there and be a part of this history.
Cecil, for you?
Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
It has to be fun.
It is fun. Every time I watch it, I'm like excited. I can't wait to see the people's reactions. Just let's be there. Let's see what we have to offer, and I'm sure you're going to have fun. Everybody's going to have fun.
28th, everybody. That's the history. We're making history. The first full animation film. I'm grateful, Cecil Jones Aband, and also the legendary JT Arnold. This is The Pulse. We'll return shortly. Stay with us.